Welcome to the Middle Book, the Sacred Code of Vibration. Introduction. There is a hidden force that shapes your reality, yet you have been conditioned to ignore it. It exists in every breath you take, in every word you speak, in the silent hum of the universe itself. This force is vibration, an invisible current that moves through all things, influencing your thoughts, emotions, and even the events that unfold in your life. The ancients knew this truth. They encoded it in their temples, their chants, their sacred writings. But over time, this knowledge was not just forgotten, it was systematically erased, buried beneath the weight of dogma, suppression, and deception. Beyond the ruins of lost civilizations, behind the closed doors of secret societies, and beneath the ashes of burned manuscripts, there remains a wisdom so powerful that those in control have worked tirelessly to keep it from you. It is the knowledge that reality is not fixed, that the material world is not as solid as you have been led to believe. The words you speak, the sounds you hear, and the frequencies that surround you are not passive elements of existence. They are the architects of your destiny. From the vibrational hymns of the Vedic sages to the forbidden chants of persecuted mystics, from the harmonic structures of ancient Egyptian rituals to the secret tonal frequencies embedded in esoteric traditions. The world's hidden history is one of sound and resonance. Every religion, every sacred text, and every great spiritual tradition has whispered the same secret. Sound is creation, vibration is power, and those who understand this can shape reality itself. This audiobook is not just an exploration of ancient wisdom, it is a revelation of how vibration has been deliberately manipulated to control the masses. Those who understand frequency can use it to heal, to awaken, and to ascend, but those who seek power over others have used it to deceive, to suppress, and to enslave. The frequency shift in modern music was not arbitrary. The loss of sacred languages and their vibrational potency was not an accident. The eradication of ancient sound-based healing techniques was not a mere oversight. What if the very fabric of your consciousness has been detuned? What if your thoughts, your emotions, and even your perception of time have been subtly manipulated by the frequencies you are exposed to every day? The answers to these questions have been hidden in plain sight, scattered across forgotten texts, misinterpreted symbols, and suppressed scientific discoveries. You will discover in these pages the vibrational keys designed to free, not to enslave. You will discover how sound was utilized by ancient societies to transcend the confines of physical existence, change consciousness, and cure the body. You'll learn how specific frequencies can reorganize neurological networks, awaken latent abilities, and even induce higher levels of consciousness. Most significantly, you will acquire the skills necessary to recover your own vibrational power and retune to the frequencies of harmony, truth, and creation. Once you begin to perceive the world through the lens of vibration, there is no turning back. The illusions will begin to fall away, and you will see reality for what it truly is, a vast, resonant field of energy, responding to the frequencies you choose to emit. The knowledge you are about to absorb has been hidden, forbidden, and distorted for centuries, but it has not been lost. It has been waiting for those who are ready to hear the resonance of truth, to remember what has been buried, and to reclaim the power that has always been theirs. This audiobook has been created by the Middle Book team, compiling information from various sources with the hope that you find it valuable and enjoyable. Subscribe to the channel and give us a like to support our work and help us continue growing. Chapter 1. The Hidden Truth. Sound as the Architect of Reality. Reality is not what it seems. For centuries, humanity has been taught to see the world as a collection of solid objects, unmoving and absolute, as if existence were a vast and unchanging structure made of stone and flesh. But this is an illusion, a veil woven so tightly around human perception that most have never questioned it. Those who did, the seekers, the mystics, the keepers of ancient wisdom, discovered something profound, something so powerful that it was hidden, distorted, and erased from history. The universe is not made of matter, it is made of vibration. Long before recorded history, before kings and empires, before the first word was etched into stone, There existed a knowledge so fundamental that it shaped the very core of human understanding. Across cultures, across civilizations that had no contact with one another, the same truth emerged. Everything is frequency. Everything is sound. Everything is shaped by an invisible resonance that echoes through the cosmos. This was not a belief. It was a knowing. In the ancient temples of Egypt, the resonance of sacred chants was used to align the mind with the divine, and their very architecture was built to amplify certain frequencies. The Sumerians spoke of tones so powerful they could open doorways between worlds. The Vedic texts of India described the primordial sound of Om as the vibrational origin of all things, a force that still hums through the fabric of existence. The Hebrews recorded that God did not build the world with his hands. He spoke it into being. Let there be light. And there was light. Not through touch, not through movement, but through vibration. If vibration is the true foundation of existence, then it holds a power far beyond what most have ever imagined. It means that nothing is truly separate, that all things, objects, emotions, thoughts, even the course of history, are but ripples in a vast ocean of frequency. It means that sound is not merely a fleeting noise in the air, but a force capable of altering consciousness, healing the body, and opening gateways between realities. But if sound can create, then it can also destroy. Those who understood this, who grasped the immense potential of vibration, knew that it could be harnessed not only for enlightenment, but for control. And so, over the centuries, this knowledge was buried. The chants of the ancient initiates were outlawed. Their temples were reduced to ruins, their scrolls and tablets burned in the fires of conquest. The sacred frequencies that once elevated human consciousness were replaced with dissonance. The natural harmony of sound, once attuned to the rhythms of the earth, was deliberately altered. The shift from 400 Hz to 440 Hz as the standard tuning for modern music was not an accident. It was a recalibration of collective perception, a subtle but powerful manipulation of vibrational reality. This was not merely the loss of a spiritual tradition, it was the suppression of a force that could free the mind, unlock hidden potentials, and dismantle illusions. Those who wielded power did not want a humanity that could resonate with its true essence. They wanted silence. Yet the truth has never fully vanished. It lingers in the echoes of sacred mantras, in the harmonies of lost musical scales, in the deep, wordless knowing that some still carry within them. It is found in the study of Cymatics, which reveals how sound shapes matter into intricate geometric patterns. It is whispered in the findings of quantum physics, where scientists now glimpse a world where nothing is truly still, where even the atoms of our bodies are in ceaseless motion, pulsing with an unseen rhythm. The implications of this knowledge are staggering. If the universe is a vast field of vibration, then consciousness itself is not bound to the physical. Our thoughts, our words, even our emotions carry frequencies that ripple outward, shaping the reality around us. Every whisper, every song, and every intention sets into motion a resonance that affects the field of existence. What does this mean for the individual? It means that you are not merely a passenger in the flow of reality. You are a conductor of frequency, a participant in the great symphony of existence. And the moment you realize this, the moment you take control of the vibrations you emit, whether through speech, through thought, through the very energy you carry, you begin to shift the reality around you. Imagine for a moment that your emotions are not just personal experiences, but frequencies broadcasting into the world. Fear, anxiety, and despair create discordant tones, vibrations that weaken the very field in which they exist. Love, gratitude, and harmony, on the other hand, generate resonances that strengthen, uplift, and transform. Ancient traditions understood this well, encoding these truths in their spiritual practices, in their hymns, in their sacred languages. They knew that frequency is the language of creation, but here lies the great paradox. The same force that can heal can also be weaponized. Just as vibration can elevate consciousness, it can also be used to confine it. Throughout history, the most powerful institutions have understood this. Words have been used not to enlighten, but to deceive. Music has been composed not to heal, but to dull. Frequencies have been manipulated not to free, but to control. This book is not just about uncovering the past. It is an invitation to remember, to awaken, to reclaim the power of vibration. Because if everything is frequency, then we are not merely observers of reality. We are its composers. What you hear, what you speak, what you think, these are not meaningless impulses, but the very notes that shape your existence. And when you understand this, when you truly grasp that vibration is the key to the hidden architecture of reality, the world will never look the same again. The silence is breaking. The resonance is calling. Are you ready to listen? Chapter 2. The Sacred Sound of Creation. Echoes from the Primordial Source. Before time, before form, before the first flicker of light broke the darkness, there was sound. Not the sound of wind or water, not the echo of footsteps in a cavern, but a resonance beyond human hearing, a vibration that carried within it the potential of all that would ever exist. This was the first sound, the primordial frequency, the voice of creation itself. Across ancient traditions, this sound is spoken of with reverence, not as a metaphor but as a literal force that set reality into motion. In the Vedic scriptures of India, it is Om, the vibrational seed from which all things emerged. In the book of Genesis, it is the divine utterance, "Let there be light." In the sacred chants of the indigenous shamans, in the whispered incantations of the Egyptian priests, the same understanding is echoed. Before matter, before energy, there was the word. But what is a word if not vibration? What is speech if not sound shaping the formless into meaning? The ancients did not believe that God crafted the world with hands of flesh, nor that the universe was an accident of chaos. They knew that sound itself was the sculptor of reality. In the beginning there was nothingness, not an empty void, but a boundless potential, a great cosmic silence filled with infinite possibility. And then something stirred. A single note, a ripple in the void, a vibration so pure, so resonant, that it did not merely pass through the silence, it became existence itself. The first sound was not just heard, it was felt, as a trembling in the unseen fabric of reality, a pulse that carried within it the blueprint of all creation. In the study of Cymatics, we see this principle reflected in the physical world. When a single tone is played over a plate covered in sand, the particles rearrange themselves into intricate, symmetrical patterns. The higher the frequency, the more complex the patterns become. What does this mean? It means that sound is not just a passive force, it shapes, it creates. If a simple tone can transform grains of sand into perfect geometric forms, what must the sound of creation have done to the raw energy of the cosmos? The ancient Egyptians believed that certain words, when spoken with the correct intonation, had the power to alter reality itself. Their priests were not just scholars or spiritual leaders, they were keepers of resonance, trained in the precise articulation of sounds that could open doors between worlds. In their temples, architecture and acoustics were designed not just for grandeur but for amplification. The very walls of their sacred spaces hummed with unseen frequencies designed to attune the human mind to higher states of awareness. The art of throat singing, which enables monks to simultaneously produce numerous harmonics and create a layered vibration that is said to break down boundaries between the material and spiritual worlds, has been practiced for millennia in Tibet. The Quran is recited in the Islamic tradition as a tonal exercise, a rhythmic vibration with heavenly resonance, rather than just being read aloud. Additionally, the medicine men and women of the America's indigenous peoples employ sacred chants, or icaros, to help the soul navigate altered states of perception rather than as amusement. The knowledge that sound is more than just sound unites all of these traditions. It serves as a key and a mechanism for tuning reality, lifting or trapping consciousness, and structuring existence itself. These old truths are starting to be confirmed by modern science. Today, physicists know that everything vibrates at the most basic level. The electrons that orbit an atom's nucleus are waves that oscillate at frequencies that are invisible to the human eye. All of it is in motion, a symphony of invisible vibrations, the human body's cells, the DNA that codes for our existence, and space-time itself. However, what does it mean for us if vibration is the basis of reality? How can we fit into this enormous, harmonious dance of life? It implies that we are frequencies as well, that our words, feelings, and thoughts are not merely ephemeral impulses, but rather vibrations that influence the world around us. Everything you say matters. Every goal, every act of fear or love, every sung song, and every muttered name all add to the universe's ever-increasing resonance. This leads us to an important conclusion. Reality is not fixed if everything is vibration. It is pliable. It can be manipulated, changed, and adjusted, much like a singer can find the perfect pitch to break glass, or a musician may tune an instrument. The great masters of the past knew this. They understood that to change the world, one must first change the frequency they emit. A body in tune with higher vibrations is a body that is resistant to disease. A mind attuned to harmony is a mind immune to fear. A soul that vibrates in resonance with love is a soul that transforms not only itself, but all those around it. But there is a dark side to this knowledge. Just as sound can create, it can also distort. Just as vibration can heal, it can also be used to enslave. The manipulation of frequency is not a thing of myth. It is a reality that has been weaponized throughout history. The burning of sacred texts, the outlawing of ancient chants, the shift of musical tuning standards, these were not arbitrary changes. They were deliberate acts of control, designed to sever humanity from its original resonance. What happens if discord takes the place of the original sound of creation, which was wholly resonant and pure? What occurs when a civilization's harmonic equilibrium is upset? The answer is not something we have to imagine. We are experiencing it. Disconnection, division, and anxiety are more than just mental states. They are signs of a world that has been retuned to a lower frequency by force. They are vibrational imbalances. However, the perfect note can bring a song back to order, just as the wrong one can ruin it. We are not merely passive observers of this cosmic symphony, and this is the profound secret that is concealed in plain sight. We are the musicians and the instruments. Reclaiming our birthright means remembering this. Stepping into our actual power means rediscovering the lost harmonies of existence. For sound is more than simply sound. It is the act of creation. And the song is waiting to be sung again. Chapter 3. The Lost Science of Frequency. Ancient knowledge buried in silence. There was a time when the world resonated in harmony with the cosmos, a time when humanity understood the sacred interplay between vibration and reality, when sound was not just an art or a form of expression, but a tool, a key that could unlock hidden dimensions, alter consciousness, and shape the very structure of existence. But this knowledge, once widespread and revered, was not allowed to endure. Somewhere in the course of history it was deliberately erased. Across civilizations, the echoes of this lost science remain, scattered in forgotten texts, whispered in secret rituals, etched into stone by hands that understood truths that modern minds have yet to grasp. From the great pyramids of Egypt to the resonant chambers of Mayan temples, from the forbidden mantras of Tibetan monks to the hidden frequencies encoded in ancient musical scales, the evidence is overwhelming. The ancients knew something we have been made to forget. The Egyptians believed that sound was the architect of matter. Their priests were not simply religious figures. They were initiates in the mysteries of resonance, trained to use vocal intonations to manipulate energy and influence the physical world. Inside the grand temples of Karnak and Luxor, massive stone walls were positioned to amplify sound in ways that modern engineers still struggle to explain. Hieroglyphs describe the use of specific tonal frequencies to levitate objects, an idea dismissed by mainstream archaeology, yet eerily supported by anomalous findings. Why do some of the heaviest blocks in ancient structures appear to have been moved with impossible precision, as if weightless? Could the lost science of frequency have played a role? Similar stories emerge from the distant past of Mesopotamia, where the Sumerians spoke of sacred tones that could summon divine forces. Their cuneiform tablets, some of the oldest written records known to humankind, reference a complex system of sound-based rituals used for healing, prophecy, and communication with higher realms. The priests of Babylon chanted in vibrational sequences that were said to shift perception, altering reality itself. In the Vedic traditions of India, sound is not just symbolic, it is the foundation of existence. The Sanskrit language itself was designed to be spoken in a way that aligns with the vibrational structure of the body and the universe. The ancient texts describe how specific chants and mantras generate energy fields, activating latent potential within the human mind. Even today, the practice of reciting Om is believed to synchronize the speaker's frequency with the primordial resonance of creation. But what if all of these traditions were not simply myths or spiritual practices? What if they were fragments of a unified knowledge, one that was systematically dismantled, buried, and distorted over the centuries? Consider the lost frequency of 432 Hz. Many ancient cultures tuned their instruments and sacred chants to this vibration, claiming it had healing properties and a direct connection to natural harmonics. The great classical composers, including Mozart and Verdi, used it as their standard. But in 1939, a new global standard was imposed, 440 Hz, a seemingly insignificant shift, but one that subtly disrupted the natural resonance of human consciousness. Some researchers argue that this change was not accidental, that it was part of a greater effort to alter perception, dull intuition, and create a population more susceptible to external control. And this is only the beginning. The manipulation of frequency extends beyond music. Language itself has been altered. Words once carried deep vibrational significance, their very syllables encoded with hidden meaning. In the ancient world, names were sacred. To know the true name of a thing was to have power over it. The Egyptians believed that the secret names of the gods contained their essence, and that to speak them correctly was to summon their presence. The Hebrew Kabbalists taught that the universe was created through divine letters, vibrations that formed the structure of existence. The Sufis of the Islamic mystical tradition still practice the repetition of sacred names, believing they align the soul with higher realms. But as time passed, language was stripped of its potency, words were diluted, meanings distorted. The power of the spoken voice was reduced to a mere tool of communication, its deeper potential forgotten. Modern languages no longer resonate with the same harmonic structure that ancient tongues once did. And as a result, the ability of words to shape reality, to heal, to manifest, to awaken, has been weakened. In the past, frequency was even considered when designing building. With its soaring spires and elaborate acoustics, medieval Europe's Gothic cathedrals were intended to raise people's consciousness. Gregorian monks chanting in their stone halls produced resonant fields that uplifted the soul and brought the human spirit into harmony with the heavens. These buildings were vibrational instruments, not just houses of worship. However, even these were changed over time. The original tonal frequencies were abandoned, and the sacred chants were altered. Due to historical revisionism and religious dogma, the grand resonance of these constructions ceased to exist. For what reason was this information suppressed? In a world where vibration is misinterpreted, who gains? The answer is unsettling. If sound is the foundation of reality, then controlling it means controlling perception. If vibration determines consciousness, then those who manipulate frequency wield power over the minds of the masses. It is not just ancient history, it is happening now. The noise of modern life, the chaotic frequencies of television screens, and the discordant rhythms of popular music, these are not random. They are designed to keep human awareness fragmented, distracted, and out of tune with the natural order. But there is a way back. The lost science of frequency is not truly lost. It is simply waiting to be remembered. The resonant chants of the past still exist, passed down in hidden lineages. The vibrational secrets of language can still be uncovered by those who seek. The harmonic codes of nature are still present in the rustling of leaves, in the crash of ocean waves, in the hum of the universe itself. To reclaim this knowledge is to reclaim power, the power to heal, to awaken, to align with the frequencies that once guided humanity toward enlightenment. The ancients understood that reality is a song, and that we are both the notes and the musicians. It is time to remember the melody. Chapter 4. The Power of the Spoken Word. The Frequency of Intention. There is a hidden force embedded in every word we speak. It vibrates beyond the range of human perception, shaping thoughts, emotions, and even the material world. The ancients understood that language was far more than a means of communication. It was a tool of creation, a force that could summon realities into existence. Today, this knowledge has been buried beneath layers of skepticism and forgetfulness, yet its power remains undiminished. What if words were not simply symbols assigned to meaning, but rather vessels of energy, carriers of frequency, capable of altering consciousness? What if the very act of speaking could influence the vibrational field around us, molding events, emotions, and even physical matter in ways science is only beginning to understand? Sacred cultures have honored the spoken word throughout history. To the Egyptians, giving anything a name was equivalent to giving it life. In order to invite heavenly presence, the temple priests were trained in the skill of precise vocalization, reciting sacred syllables with the right resonance. The entire cosmos was formed by the divine speech of letters and sounds, each carrying a distinct vibratory imprint, according to the teachings of the Hebrew Kabbalah. The 72 names of God, known as the lost art of the Shema Mephorosh, were thought to be so potent that only those who were initiated could utter them without repercussion. The Bible too holds echoes of this knowledge. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a direct statement of truth, that language, sound, and vibration are the architects of reality. In Genesis, creation does not occur through physical construction, but through command. Let there be light, and light emerges. But what happens when this power is forgotten? When words become hollow, stripped of their resonance? Modern language has been diluted. In the ancient world, speech was deliberate, intentional. Words were understood as spells, vibrations sent into the ether, shaping the unseen forces of existence. Today, language has been reduced to noise, mindless chatter, a tool of distraction rather than creation. People speak without awareness, unaware that every syllable carries weight, that their words ripple into the universe, manifesting outcomes whether they realize it or not. There is a reason why every mystical tradition emphasizes the importance of silence. The Sufis practice dhikr, the repeated chanting of divine names, attuning themselves to higher frequencies. Tibetan monks engage in harmonic throat singing, producing multiple overtones at once, which is believed to alter consciousness and open gateways to higher dimensions. In the Christian tradition, the early Desert Fathers practiced hesychasm, a form of meditative prayer where the repetition of sacred phrases brought about profound spiritual awakening. These practices were never arbitrary. They were based on an understanding that sound, when charged with intent, can dissolve illusion and reshape reality. But just as words can create, they can also destroy. Language has long been weaponized, not only in politics and propaganda, but in subtle ways that affect everyday life. Words of fear, doubt, and anger lower the vibrational field of both speaker and listener. They implant seeds of negativity, their resonance lingering long after the conversation has ended. This is why ancient cultures placed immense importance on blessing and cursing, because they knew that words were not merely sounds, but energetic forces. Even in the modern world, scientific experiments have hinted at the profound effect of speech. Dr. Masaru Emoto's research on water crystallization revealed that words spoken to water molecules altered their structure. Positive words produced symmetrical, harmonious formations, while words of hate and anger resulted in chaotic, disordered shapes. If human words have this effect on water, and our bodies are mostly water, then what are they doing to our cells, our thoughts, our very existence? Beyond science, consider the personal impact of words. A single insult spoken in childhood can haunt someone for decades, shaping their self-perception, embedding itself deep within their subconscious. Conversely, a few words of encouragement can change the course of a life. We are constantly immersed in the vibrations of language, whether we realize it or not. The question is, what are we choosing to emit? There is a lost practice, one that was once common knowledge among initiates of the ancient world, the deliberate use of language as a means of aligning with the higher harmonics of reality. To speak only words that elevate, that heal, that empower. To abstain from speech that weakens, that lowers vibration, that reinforces limitation. This is not simply about positive thinking, it is about vibrational alignment. Words spoken without awareness are like untuned instruments, producing discord in the symphony of existence. But when spoken with intention, words become tools of transformation. They become keys that unlock hidden doors. This is the power of mantras, sacred names, and invocations. This is the reason why secret societies and esoteric traditions have preserved certain chants, passing them down only to those deemed worthy. Not because they are mere religious practices, but because they operate on a vibrational level beyond ordinary perception. But you do not need ancient texts or secret initiations to reclaim this knowledge. The key is already within you, within your voice, within the frequency of your thoughts. Every word you speak is an act of creation. Every phrase you utter shapes your reality. The question is, are you speaking mindlessly, or are you tuning your voice to the frequencies of power? The lost masters of sound understood that the universe does not respond to words alone, it responds to resonance. This is why empty affirmations do not work, why reciting sacred texts without belief holds no power. It is not the language that matters, it is the vibration behind it, the intent, the energy. To harness the power of the spoken word is to step into the role of a creator. It is to become aware that every sentence carries the weight of manifestation. It is to recognize that silence, when charged with intention, can be more potent than 1,000 spoken words. Chapter 5. The Frequency Trap. How Sound Controls Your Consciousness. Not all sound is meant to heal. Not all vibration is meant to uplift. For as long as humanity has understood the power of frequency, there have been those who sought to control it, not to enlighten but to manipulate. Sound, when properly tuned, can unlock the mind, elevate awareness, and harmonize the body with the natural rhythms of existence. But when distorted, when weaponized, it becomes a tool of control, an invisible force that keeps entire populations in a state of anxiety, confusion, and submission. The ancients knew that the world was not made of matter but of vibration. They understood that different frequencies produced different effects, some healing, some destructive. This knowledge was embedded in their temples, in their chants, in the very structures of their civilizations. But somewhere along the way, something changed. The natural frequencies that once aligned human consciousness with the divine were replaced with artificial, dissonant tones. The harmonics that once fostered clarity and intuition were systematically altered. It was not by accident. One of the most striking examples of frequency manipulation is the shift from 432 Hz to 440 Hz as the standard tuning for music. The ancients tuned their instruments to 432 Hz, a frequency said to be mathematically aligned with the vibrations of nature, the resonances of the earth, and even the human body itself. The great composers of the past, Mozart, Verdi, and others, understood this intuitively, composing music that elevated the spirit and restored balance. But in 1939, under the influence of the powerful forces of the time, a new standard was imposed, 440 Hz. At first glance, the difference seems insignificant, just an 8 Hz shift, barely perceptible to the untrained ear. But this subtle adjustment had profound consequences. Research suggests that 440 Hz is out of sync with the natural rhythms of the universe. It creates tension, agitation, and disharmony within the human body. It resonates in a way that induces a mild but constant stress response, an underlying sense of unease that keeps the nervous system in a state of low-grade distress. It is not an overt weapon, it does not deafen or cripple, but it influences perception, mood, and mental clarity in ways most people never even notice. If this change was simply an aesthetic choice, then why was it enforced so aggressively? Why did organizations across the world push for this new standard, despite widespread resistance from musicians and scholars? Who benefits from a world where music no longer soothes but subtly disturbs? And music is only one part of the equation. The manipulation of sound extends far beyond tuning frequencies. It is embedded in the language we use, in the rhythms of modern speech, and in the constant bombardment of chaotic noise that fills our daily lives. The relentless chatter of news cycles, the jarring advertisements, the synthetic beats of popular music, all of it is carefully designed to keep the human mind in a state of distraction, unable to settle into deeper states of awareness. Even the words we speak have been altered. Language in its original form was sacred, a vibrational tool meant to align consciousness with higher frequencies. The incantations of the Egyptians, the prayers of the early mystics, the carefully measured tones of the Gregorian chants, these were not mere traditions, they were technologies of sound. But over centuries, words have been stripped of their potency. Modern languages have lost their harmonic structure. The way we speak today is hurried, disjointed, and devoid of the resonance it once held. There is a reason why ancient mantras and sacred words have survived in hidden traditions. The repetition of Om, the intonation of Hebrew and Arabic prayers, the secretive chants of the shamans. All of these maintain a vibrational purity that modern speech has lost. It is not just about meaning, it is about frequency. And then there is the role of sound in mass control. Drumming has been used in warfare for centuries, not just to communicate orders, but to entrain the minds of soldiers, pushing them into states of heightened aggression or fearless obedience. The Nazis, infamous for their psychological manipulation, understood this principle well. Joseph Goebbels, the mastermind of propaganda, was deeply interested in the effects of sound and rhythm on human behavior. He knew that the right combination of tones, repetition, and tempo could shape perception, mold thought, and dictate emotion. Today, these same techniques are used in entertainment and media. Fast, repetitive beats that overstimulate the nervous system. Words and phrases are repeated endlessly until they become ingrained in the subconscious. News headlines are crafted not to inform, but to provoke an emotional response, keeping the population locked in cycles of fear, outrage, and helplessness. But why? Because a mind that is constantly bombarded with chaotic frequencies cannot think clearly. A person who is surrounded by dissonance cannot find inner harmony. A society that is out of tune with itself is easy to control. When people are disconnected from the natural frequencies that once guided them, they become reliant on external authorities for guidance, for validation, for a sense of direction. And yet the solution is simple. The same knowledge that was once hidden can be reclaimed. The same frequencies that were suppressed can be reintroduced. It begins with awareness, learning to recognize the sounds that heal and those that harm, choosing music that aligns with natural harmonics, speaking words that uplift rather than diminish, cultivating silence in a world that thrives on noise. Because once you understand that sound is more than sound, that it is the foundation of thought, emotion, and perception itself, you begin to break free from the trap, and in that moment, you take back control. Chapter 6. The Forbidden Harmonics, Lost Chants and Censored Melodies. Throughout history, music and sound have been seen as sacred, as tools for healing, awakening, and even altering reality itself. But what happens when this power is stripped away, when melodies designed to elevate the human spirit are erased, distorted, or replaced with discordant frequencies? What happens when the very vibrations that once connected humanity to higher states of consciousness are deliberately suppressed? The answer is all around us. Modern music, though vast in its forms, has been severed from its original purpose. The melodies that once healed, the chants that once aligned the body with the cosmos, the harmonics that once elevated consciousness, many of these have been lost or deliberately buried. The ancients understood something we have forgotten. Not all sound is created equal. Some frequencies bring balance and restoration, while others create chaos and confusion. The world we live in today is filled with the latter. The suppression of sacred sounds did not happen overnight. It was a slow and systematic process, one that began centuries ago and continues today. In the medieval era, the Catholic Church exerted immense control over spiritual music, regulating which tones and harmonies could be used in worship. Certain scales and intervals were banned outright, labeled as diabolus in musica, the devil in music, because they evoked intense emotional or mystical states that could not be easily controlled. The tritone, a particular interval known for its unsettling yet powerful resonance, was one of these. Its natural ability to create tension and expansion was feared, so it was silenced. But even before this, the true power of sound was hidden behind the closed doors of mystery schools and secret societies. The Egyptian priesthood, the Kabbalists, the Sumerian scholars, these groups understood that sound could be used as a gateway to altered states of being. Their chants were not just religious expressions, they were vibrational codes, keys to unlocking the deeper dimensions of reality. The ancient mantras of India, the sacred tones of Tibetan monks, the hypnotic rhythms of indigenous shamans, these were not mere cultural practices, but technologies of the spirit. And yet, where are these sounds today? The destruction of temples and the rewriting of history have resulted in the loss of many. Others have been purposefully misrepresented. For instance, the discordant 440 Hz norm that pervades modern music was not always used for tuning musical instruments. As previously mentioned, 432 Hz was the frequency that ancient societies tuned their instruments to because it was in sync with the Earth's inherent cycles, the Schumann resonance, and even the vibrational structure of water molecules. However, what occurs if the global frequency is changed, even by a small amount, a few hertz? The outcome is substantial but subtle. It throws off the balance between music and the human body. The natural world and the mind are no longer in perfect harmony. Most people are not aware of the methods in which anxiety and discord develop. Generations have been impacted by the seemingly insignificant change from 432 Hz to 440 Hz. Sound has been used to stifle human potential in ways other than this shift in musical frequency. Think about the disappearance of the solfeggio frequencies, a historic scale that was utilized in holy hymns and Gregorian chanting. It was claimed that certain frequencies, 396 Hz, 417 Hz, 528 Hz, and others, facilitated divine connection, healing, and transformation. The most well-known of them, 528 Hz, is sometimes referred to as the love frequency or the miracle frequency because it is thought to balance the body and repair DNA. Why then was this musical scale abandoned? Historical records suggest that the shift away from these frequencies was not a natural evolution, but a deliberate erasure. The Gregorian chants, once sung to invoke deep meditative and mystical states, were gradually altered. Their mathematical and vibrational purity was compromised. The same happened with ancient tribal drumming traditions, which were often outlawed by colonizers, who feared the ecstatic and trance-inducing effects of rhythmic entrainment. Even the hypnotic chants of the Sufis, the whirling dervishes who spun into altered states of awareness, were suppressed in various regions. The message was clear: sound could be dangerous in the wrong hands or the right ones. But why? Why would certain powerful institutions seek to control something as seemingly harmless as music? The answer lies in sound's ability to influence consciousness. When people listen to frequencies that elevate their awareness, they begin to think differently. They become more intuitive, more centered, and more resistant to manipulation. They are harder to control. Conversely, when people are surrounded by dissonant, chaotic frequencies, whether in music, speech, or even the electromagnetic fields around them, they remain in a state of low-level anxiety, constantly seeking external validation, unable to hear their own inner guidance. The mind becomes more susceptible to suggestion, more eager to conform, more willing to accept without questioning. This is not a new concept. The role of sound in warfare, propaganda, and in psychological conditioning is well documented. Drumming was used to drive warriors into a trance-like state, increasing aggression and focus. Repetitive chant-like slogans have been employed in political movements and advertising to implant ideas into the subconscious. Frequencies beyond the range of human hearing have been studied for their effects on brainwave states, influencing everything from sleep patterns to emotional responses. But here is the most important truth of all. What has been lost can be reclaimed. The sacred sounds of the past still exist. They have survived in fragments, in the temples of Tibet, in the sacred texts of forgotten civilizations, and in the ceremonial music of indigenous tribes. The solfeggio frequencies can still be accessed, their effects rediscovered. The power of the human voice, when used with intention, remains one of the greatest tools for transformation. The question is not whether these frequencies exist. The question is whether we will remember how to use them. Imagine a world where sound is once again recognized as a healing force, where music is composed not for profit, but for alignment, where words are spoken with awareness of their vibrational impact, where silence is embraced as a sacred space between sounds, a place where the mind can rest, recalibrate, and reconnect with its true resonance. This is not a fantasy. It is a return to something that was once known. The lost harmonics are not gone forever. They are waiting like echoes in the fabric of time for those who will listen. Chapter 7. The Resonance of Reality. How vibration shapes the world around you. Whether material or energetic, visible or unseen, everything is in motion and vibrating at a certain frequency. The complete consequences of vibrational resonance have only recently started to become clear. Despite the fact that both contemporary scientists and ancient mystics have attempted to comprehend this fundamental reality, everything is controlled by frequency, from the smallest subatomic particle to the enormous cosmic structures that cover the entire universe. This idea holds true for ideas, feelings, and even human awareness itself, in addition to physical substance. The idea that reality is shaped by vibration is not new. Ancient civilizations, from the Egyptians to the Hindus to the indigenous cultures of the Americas, understood that sound and resonance were more than just sensory experiences. They believed that frequency was a force of creation, a medium through which energy took form. In the Vedic tradition, the universe is said to have emerged from sound, the primordial vibration of Om, a resonance that continues to pulse through existence. In the texts of ancient Greece, Pythagoras spoke of a harmony that underlies all things, a mathematical and musical order that determines the structure of reality. He taught that by understanding these harmonies, one could align oneself with the natural order of the cosmos. Science has started to confirm what the ancients already knew. Everything is energy, oscillating at certain frequencies at the most fundamental level according to quantum physics. What seems solid is actually made up of vibrating fields of energy, and what we think is form is simply the result of various vibrational patterns interacting with each other. Matter is fluid rather than fixed, responding to the subtle forces of resonance. This realization transforms everything, indicating that reality is dynamic and not static, but rather that it is influenced by the frequencies we emit and receive. The human body is a vibrational instrument. There is a frequency for each organ, cell, and even thought. For instance, the electromagnetic waves produced by the heart travel well outside the body, forming a field that interacts with the surroundings. Depending on whether a person is in a deep sleep, meditation, or alert state, the brain also functions at various vibrational states, changing frequencies. Additionally, emotions have frequencies. States like joy, love, and gratitude vibrate more frequently, whereas states like fear, anger, and despair resonate at denser, lower frequencies. A person's inner state causes the field of energy that surrounds and emanates from them to change constantly. The secret to understanding why some individuals, locations, or circumstances seem uplifting, while others feel draining, is resonance. Humans resonate with the frequencies they are exposed to, much like a tuning fork will induce another tuning fork of the same frequency to vibrate in harmony. This explains why a single person's mood can permeate a whole space, why being in nature can bring back a sense of tranquility, and why prolonged exposure to stress and negativity can cause physical illness. It is vibrational, not just psychological. This has significant ramifications. If everything is frequency, then people actively shape reality rather than only passively observing it. The vibrating field that affects personal experience is influenced by the energy one carries, the thoughts one develops, and the emotions one fosters. This is about attunement, about deliberately selecting frequencies that are in harmony rather than disharmony. It is not just about positive thinking in the shallow sense. The significance of increasing one's vibration is emphasized in many of the great spiritual teachings from many civilizations. The goal of techniques like breathwork, chanting, meditation, and prayer is to change internal frequencies so that the body and mind are in harmony with the higher harmonics of life. Another important factor in this process is music. Brainwave activity, emotional moods, and even physiological reactions are influenced by various musical scales and tonal frameworks. A long-standing understanding that some tones have the power to alter, heal, and raise consciousness is indicated by the renewed interest in solfeggio frequencies, which were originally employed in Gregorian chants. Beyond the individual, the principle of resonance applies to the collective as well. Societies, cultures, and even entire civilizations carry vibrational signatures. When large groups of people operate at a frequency of fear, division, or conflict, it creates a resonance that reinforces those states. Conversely, when communities cultivate frequencies of unity, cooperation, and higher awareness, the collective energy shifts. This is why mass meditations, prayer gatherings, and large-scale expressions of love and solidarity have measurable effects on the surrounding environment. Studies have shown that when large groups meditate or focus on peace, crime rates drop, violence decreases, and social harmony increases. The power of collective resonance is undeniable. If everything is vibration, then the task of each individual is to become aware of the frequencies they engage with and emit. This requires a deep level of mindfulness, an attunement to the subtle energies that shape experience. It means choosing environments that nourish rather than deplete, surrounding oneself with sounds, words, and energies that elevate rather than diminish. It means taking responsibility for one's own resonance, knowing that every thought, every word, and every emotion contributes to the symphony of existence. The world is filled with noise, both literal and energetic, and many have become so accustomed to dissonance that they no longer recognize it. They live in a constant state of vibrational distortion, disconnected from their natural rhythm, unaware that their reality is being shaped by frequencies beyond their conscious perception. But for those who begin to listen, who begin to feel the subtle interplay of vibrations within and around them, a new world opens up. It is a world where reality is not something that happens to them, but something they actively co-create. In the end, the resonance of reality is a reflection of the frequencies that are sustained, amplified, and nurtured. The universe is not separate from human experience. It is responding in every moment to the vibrations that are emitted. This is not mysticism. It is physics, it is energy. It is the unseen fabric that connects all things. The great secret, the truth that has been known by sages, scientists, and seekers throughout time, is that frequency is the foundation of reality. And once this is understood, once one truly grasps that everything is vibration, the question is no longer whether one is affected by frequency, but how one chooses to use it. Chapter 8. The Hidden Language of Sound. Unlocking the Secrets of Vibrational Communication. Sound is more than just an auditory sensation. It is a force that carries meaning beyond words, shaping emotions, thoughts, and even the unseen dimensions of reality. While language is often seen as the primary means of communication, it is only a surface-level expression of a much deeper vibrational exchange that takes place between all things. Every sound, every tone, and every frequency contains encoded information that influences both the physical and energetic worlds, often in ways that go unnoticed. Early people used sounds, tones, and rhythms to communicate long before there was such a thing as structured language. A succession of vocalized vibrations, a simple hum, or a steady heartbeat might convey feelings and intents that words could not. According to their wisdom, indigenous societies have always understood this. The tonal languages of some ancient civilizations, the chants of monks and the songs of shamans all reveal a truth that has been largely forgotten. Sound is a medium for carrying energy as well as ideas. There are countless examples of how sound operates as a hidden language, influencing both the mind and body without the need for verbal articulation. The sound of a baby's cry triggers an instinctive response in a mother, a deep emotional pull that transcends logic. A single musical note can evoke long-forgotten memories, transporting the listener to another time and place. The voice of a loved one can bring comfort, while the tone of a stranger can instantly create distrust. These reactions occur because sound bypasses the intellect and speaks directly to the subconscious. Different frequencies and tones have physiological effects on the human body, according to scientific research. While some noises create stress or anxiety, others provide calm. Quantifiable soothing effects on the nervous system can be found in the rhythmic purring of a cat, the soft crashing of ocean waves, or the whisper of wind through the trees. However, even if the listener is not aware of it, stress reactions can be triggered by discordant noise, abrupt sounds, and unusual frequencies. This explains why some settings seem friendly and serene, while others are hectic and overpowering. The vibratory milieu that surrounds them is more important than what the conscious mind perceives or hears. Human connections and interactions also heavily rely on the hidden language of sound. A word's pronunciation has just as much meaning as the actual word. When a phrase is delivered in a warm, melodic tone, it will be heard differently than when it is delivered abruptly and sharply. The human voice is an instrument of frequency, constantly transmitting emotional states, intentions, and energetic signatures that others pick up on, whether consciously or subconsciously. This is why ancient traditions placed such importance on mantras, sacred sounds that were carefully crafted to produce specific vibrational effects. Mantras were never just random words. They were sequences of syllables tuned to align consciousness with higher states of awareness. In Hinduism, the repetition of Om was believed to attune the practitioner to the fundamental vibration of the universe. In Tibetan Buddhism, the chant Om Mani Padme Hum was used to invoke compassion and spiritual purification. Even in the Christian tradition, the use of repetitive prayers and sacred hymns was designed to create resonance between the individual and the divine. Beyond spiritual practices, sound has also been used as a means of energetic influence. Certain frequencies have been used to manipulate, control, and direct human consciousness without individuals even realizing it. Advertisers, politicians, and media creators understand this well, carefully selecting background music, vocal tones, and subliminal audio cues to evoke specific emotional responses. The reason why certain songs become instantly popular, why some voices command attention while others are ignored, or why certain sounds feel inherently trustworthy is not always a matter of personal preference. It is often the result of deeply ingrained vibrational conditioning. But if sound has been used to manipulate, it can also be used to liberate. Those who learn to listen beyond words, who become aware of the vibrational quality of sound rather than just its intellectual meaning, begin to access a different level of perception. It is the ability to read between the frequencies, to sense the true intentions behind speech, to recognize when sound is being used as a tool of deception or elevation. Understanding the hidden language of sound is not just about listening more carefully. It is about feeling. It is about noticing the effect certain tones have on the body and mind, paying attention to how different voices and environments create energetic shifts. When one begins to attune themselves to these subtle vibrations, communication transforms. They start to hear beyond the spoken word, sensing the energy behind the expression. They become more discerning, able to differentiate between truth and distortion, alignment and dissonance. This is why sound healing is becoming an increasingly recognized field. The use of Tibetan singing bowls, tuning forks, and harmonic frequencies is not just about relaxation. It is about restoring vibrational coherence to the body and mind. If an instrument can be tuned to produce the right harmonics, so too can the human system. Through intentional sound practices, individuals can recalibrate their own frequencies, releasing emotional blockages and attuning themselves to higher states of awareness. Being able to intentionally interact with sound is more crucial than ever in a world full with noise, both real and imagined. One can easily get desensitized, lose themselves in pointless conversation, and allow the frequencies of the outside world to control their inner state. However, sound becomes an instrument for waking when it is employed with mindfulness. It turns into a means of achieving a closer bond with the world and oneself. The knowledge that everything, even stillness, has a frequency, is at the heart of this insight. As significant as the sounds themselves are, the pauses that separate them. Life itself is a balance between energy and silence, much like music, which depends on quiet times to provide rhythm and meaning. People who adopt this equilibrium and develop the ability to hear beyond the obvious start to perceive the world in a new way. They understand that sound is integrated into the very fabric of reality and is not merely an external phenomenon. A language of resonance and vibration older than words is being used by the universe. When one learns to listen, they will discover that the answers they are looking for have always been there, concealed in the whispers, echoes, and quiet breaks between sounds. Whether or if one is genuinely aware of the frequencies influencing their life is the question, not whether sound affects reality. Chapter 9. The Soul's Resonance. How your vibration shapes your destiny. There is a force within you that goes beyond the physical. It is unseen, yet it determines the course of your life. Ancient traditions have called it the soul, the spirit, the essence, but modern science may describe it differently. A field of vibration, a frequency unique to you, shaping the reality you experience. Everything in the universe vibrates. From the movement of galaxies to the pulsation of atoms, from the rhythmic beating of your heart to the silent hum of thoughts within your mind. Nothing is truly still. At every moment, you are emitting a frequency, a resonance that interacts with the world around you. But what if this resonance is not random? What if it is the key to understanding why your life unfolds the way it does? The ancients believed that the soul was not just a passive entity, but an active force, radiating energy that determines the events, relationships, and even opportunities that manifest in one's life. In the Hindu tradition, this concept is woven into the idea of karma, the idea that one's vibrational state, shaped by past thoughts and actions, influences future experiences. In Buddhism, the law of cause and effect teaches that the energy one puts into the world inevitably returns, a reflection of the inner frequency one carries. These old truths are starting to be recognized by modern science in their own manner. Quantum physics has shown that reality is influenced by observation itself, and that awareness is not distinct from the material universe, but rather plays a crucial role in its development. Particles behave differently when observed, as shown by the well-known double-slit experiment, indicating that awareness itself affects the physical cosmos. Is it possible that our own vibration, our thoughts, feelings, and spiritual energy work similarly, influencing the events we draw into our lives? Think about the resonance phenomenon. Another tuning fork close by will start to vibrate at the same frequency when one is struck. This is a natural law, not a coincidence. Humans are subject to the same rule. Have you ever observed how some people appear to effortlessly attract others with their charisma, enthusiasm, or atmosphere of peace? Or how certain people appear to be caught in vicious loops of negativity, drawing bad luck despite their best efforts to break free? It's not luck, it's resonance. Similar to a radio transmission, your own vibration is continuously broadcasting into the invisible fabric of reality. You draw events and people who share your energy when you are operating at a high frequency, when your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are in alignment with love, thankfulness, and purpose. On the other hand, you attract circumstances that support your feelings of rage, fear, or despair when you live in them. This is why spiritual masters throughout history have emphasized the importance of inner work. It is not enough to wish for a better life. One must first tune their internal frequency to match what they seek. This is the secret behind the practice of meditation, prayer, mantra chanting, and breathwork. Each of these disciplines serves to refine one's vibrational state, clearing away discordant energies and aligning the soul with higher frequencies. But the process of raising one's vibration is not always easy. The modern world is filled with dissonant energies, artificial frequencies, chaotic information, emotional turmoil that can pull the soul out of alignment. Negative emotions, past traumas, and limiting beliefs all act as vibrational distortions, interfering with the natural resonance of the spirit. This is why healing is so essential, not just physical healing, but emotional and energetic healing. Many traditions teach that unresolved emotions create energetic blockages, trapping the soul in lower frequencies. The ancient practice of sound healing, whether through Tibetan singing bowls, Gregorian chants, or shamanic drumming, is based on the idea that certain frequencies can clear these blockages, restoring the soul's natural harmony. Even simple acts, such as spending time in nature, practicing gratitude, or engaging in deep conscious breathing, can have profound effects on one's vibrational state. But perhaps the most powerful realization is this: your vibration is not fixed. Many people believe they are victims of circumstance, trapped in lives dictated by fate. But fate is not a rigid script. It is a field of possibilities shaped by the frequencies you emit. The moment you change your internal resonance, the world around you begins to shift. New opportunities arise, old patterns dissolve, synchronicities increase, as if reality itself is responding to your newfound alignment. This is the essence of what mystics and visionaries have always known. Reality is not something that happens to you, it is something you co-create. The question then becomes, what frequency are you choosing to broadcast? Are you emitting signals of fear, doubt, and limitation? Or are you radiating love, courage, and expansion? The answer to this question determines the quality of your relationships, your success, your health, and ultimately, your destiny. This is not about wishful thinking. It is about the science of vibration, the mechanics of energy, the understanding that you are not separate from the universe. You are part of its great harmonic dance. When you master your own frequency, you step into a state of flow, where life unfolds with a sense of effortless synchronicity, where doors open before you even realize you needed them. This does not mean that challenges will disappear, but it does mean that you will face them differently. A high-frequency soul does not resist difficulty, it transforms it. Just as a finely tuned instrument can turn chaotic noise into music, so too can a tuned soul turn obstacles into stepping stones for growth. And so the journey is clear. To shift your life, shift your vibration. To change your reality, change your resonance. The universe is always listening. Chapter 10. The Gateway of Sound. Connecting with other realities. There is an invisible bridge between worlds, a passageway between the physical and the unseen, and its key is vibration. Sound has long been considered sacred, a force capable of shaping matter, altering consciousness, and even opening portals to higher dimensions. Ancient civilizations understood this mystery well, using chants, frequencies, and sacred tones not only for spiritual growth, but also as tools for communication with the divine. But over time, much of this knowledge was lost, dismissed as legend or myth. Yet, the evidence of sound's ability to connect us to other realms remains, hidden in the practices of mystics, encoded in sacred traditions and even confirmed by modern science. Throughout history, shamans, monks, and spiritual seekers have used sound as a vehicle for transcendence. In the dense Amazon rainforest, indigenous shamans sing Icaros, sacred songs believed to summon spirits, heal disease, and guide souls through the astral planes. Tibetan monks practice harmonic chanting, producing multiple tones at once, which they claim allows them to access higher states of consciousness. Sufi mystics engage in rhythmic dhikr, the repetitive chanting of divine names, inducing trance-like states where the boundaries between self and the infinite dissolve. These are vibrational technologies, not just cultural customs. Certain frequencies can adjust the human mind to unusual states of awareness if everything in the cosmos is frequency. The human brain can be tuned by sound to receive signals from outside the material world, much like a radio needs to be tuned to the correct station in order to hear a broadcast. The science of brainwave entrainment supports this viewpoint, so it's not merely a spiritual one. The many frequencies at which the human brain functions are linked to distinct states of consciousness. Our waking state is dominated by beta waves, which help us stay focused and attentive. Meditation, relaxation, and creative inspiration are times when alpha waves appear. Visionary experiences, hypnosis, and deep meditation are associated with theta waves. Deep sleep and unconsciousness are associated with delta waves. Sound can guide the brain into these states. Studies have shown that binaural beats, two slightly different frequencies played in each ear, can shift brainwave activity, leading to altered states of awareness. Similarly, drumming at a steady rhythm of 4 to 7 beats per second has been found to synchronize the brain with theta waves, a phenomenon long known to indigenous shamans who use drumming to enter trance states. But what lies beyond these altered states? Many who have experimented with sound-induced trance states report similar experiences: visions of otherworldly landscapes, encounters with luminous beings, sensations of leaving the body and traveling to realms beyond time and space. Are these mere hallucinations, or are they glimpses into other dimensions? Some believe that sound is the key to unlocking the Akashic records, a supposed vibrational archive of all knowledge, past, present, and future. Others suggest that certain frequencies act as gateways to parallel realities, where different versions of ourselves might exist. Ancient texts provide tantalizing hints about the role of sound in interdimensional travel. In the Sumerian myths, the gods were said to possess secret names that, when spoken, granted the power to summon them. The Egyptians believed that the correct pronunciation of sacred words could open portals to the afterlife. The Hebrew Kabbalah teaches that the universe was created through the vibration of divine letters, and that by meditating on these sounds, one can ascend to higher realms. Even in the modern era, reports of near-death experiences, NDEs, frequently include descriptions of a mysterious humming or celestial music heard just before the soul departs from the body. Could it be that sound is not only a force within this reality, but a bridge to others? If so, then the implications are profound. It implies that one can change perception, broaden consciousness, and possibly even access secret aspects of existence by purposefully using sound. It implies that the straightforward yet deep act of tuning into the appropriate frequency is the key to unlocking mystical experiences, rather than using drugs or complex rituals. However, just as sound can lead one wrong, it can also open doors to other realms. Not every frequency rises. There are dissonant vibrations that cause bewilderment, dread, and alienation, just as there are healing ones. Certain spiritual traditions warn of false voices that appear while people are in altered states. These voices are frequencies that entangle rather than free. Being able to distinguish between sounds that uplift and depress the psyche is crucial. In reclaiming the lost knowledge of sound, we begin to remember that reality is not fixed. It is fluid, responsive to vibration. The walls between worlds are not as solid as they seem. And so, the question remains: if sound is a gateway, where do you wish to go? Do you seek alignment with the sacred harmonies of the cosmos? Do you wish to access the hidden knowledge that sound has preserved through the ages? Or do you simply wish to hear the silence beyond sound, the great stillness from which all vibration emerges? Chapter 11. The Death Frequency, the Vibrational Transition of the Soul. Death is not the end. It is a shift, a movement from one state of vibration to another. Across cultures and traditions, there has always been an understanding that life does not simply cease upon physical death. It transforms, dissolving into another frequency, another dimension of existence. The body may be still, but the energy that animated it, the consciousness that experienced reality, continues. The question is, where does it go? For thousands of years, spiritual traditions have sought to answer this mystery. The Egyptians believed that, at the moment of death, the soul traveled through the duat, the underworld, where it was weighed against the feather of Ma'at. If its frequency was light, harmonious, and pure, it ascended to the afterlife. If it was burdened by heavy, disharmonic energy, it remained trapped in lower realms. In Tibetan Buddhism, The Bardo Thodol, known in the West as the Tibetan Book of the Dead, describes a similar process. The soul moves through different vibrational states after death, guided by sacred sounds, eventually reaching rebirth or liberation. But what if these ancient teachings were not just symbolic? What if they contained a literal truth, that the moment of death is determined by frequency, and that where the soul travels is based on its vibrational state? Science is beginning to hint at this reality. The study of near-death experiences, NDEs, has revealed intriguing patterns. Many who have been clinically dead for short periods and then revived describe hearing sounds, celestial music, harmonic tones, or an all-encompassing hum. Some report sensations of rising into a state of light, a feeling of expansion, as if their consciousness is being tuned to a new frequency. Others, however, describe chaotic noise, a discordant vibration, a feeling of being trapped. Could it be that the frequency at which one vibrates in life determines what one experiences in death? In the field of physics, the principle of resonance suggests that objects vibrate in sympathy with frequencies that match their own. If consciousness is a form of energy, then it would make sense that at the moment of death, it is drawn toward realms that match its vibrational signature. A soul that has cultivated harmony, love, and peace might naturally gravitate toward higher realms, while a soul trapped in fear, resentment, or attachment to the material world may find itself in a denser, more chaotic frequency. This concept is mirrored in the beliefs of many indigenous cultures. The shamans of the Amazon teach that at the time of death, the soul must sing its way home. Those who have learned the sacred songs and aligned themselves with the right frequencies in life will transition smoothly into the next world. Those who have not may become lost, wandering in a liminal space between realities. Even modern research into sound and death has uncovered fascinating insights. Certain frequencies have been observed to induce peaceful states in hospice patients, easing their transition from life. The use of Tibetan singing bowls, chanting, and soft harmonic sounds has been shown to reduce fear and anxiety in the dying, as if preparing their consciousness for the vibrational shift ahead. But if death is a transition of frequency, then it is not just about what happens in the final moments, it is about how one has lived. Every thought, every emotion, every action carries a vibrational imprint. Over time, these energies accumulate, shaping the frequency of the soul. Those who cultivate higher vibrations through love, gratitude, and inner peace are, in essence, tuning themselves to ascend beyond lower densities. Those who remain trapped in cycles of negativity, hatred, or greed are lowering their frequency, binding themselves to the denser layers of existence. This is not punishment, it is simply the law of resonance. The implications of this understanding are profound. If the afterlife is not determined by judgment, but by vibration, then one's ultimate destination is not a matter of faith, but of frequency. Religious teachings across cultures have hinted at this truth, whether it is the concept of heaven and hell, nirvana and samsara, or ascension and purgatory. All of these ideas suggest that the state of one's soul at the moment of death determines what comes next. But here is the most crucial realization. You are tuning your frequency right now. Every thought you think, every emotion you dwell in, every sound you surround yourself with is shaping the vibrational pattern of your being. The frequencies you engage with daily are determining the resonance you will carry into the transition of death. If the soul is an instrument, then life is the process of tuning it, either into harmony with higher realms or into discord with lower ones. And yet, modern society does everything it can to keep people out of tune. The dissonance of artificial frequencies, the bombardment of chaotic noise, the cultivation of fear through media, politics, and entertainment, all of these things lower vibration, keeping the mind fixated on material concerns, distracting from the deeper truth of existence. But there is a way to reclaim this knowledge. The ancients left behind tools, practices that can raise one's frequency and prepare the soul for a smooth transition. Sacred sound is one of them. Chanting mantras, meditating on harmonic frequencies, immersing oneself in music that aligns with natural resonances, these are ways to refine one's vibration. Even the act of conscious breathing, of silence, of deep introspection can shift the soul into a higher state. But the most powerful frequency of all is love. Love in its purest form is the highest vibration known. It is the resonance of creation itself. Those who cultivate love, who live with compassion, who forgive, who let go of resentment, these people are raising their vibrational field in ways that cannot be measured by science, but that are deeply understood by the soul. In the end, death is not an end. It is a transition, a shift from one frequency to another. Where one goes after this life is not a matter of chance, nor is it dictated by external forces. It is determined by the resonance of the soul. The final moments of life do not define the journey ahead. Rather, they reveal the vibrational state that has been cultivated throughout a lifetime. This is why every moment matters. If the universe is a vast symphony, then you are an instrument. The question is, how are you tuning yourself? Chapter 12. The Music of the Spheres, the Universal Symphony. Across the ages, scientists, philosophers, and mystics have discussed a vast cosmic symphony that unites everything in the universe. The Greeks referred to it as musica universalis, or the music of the spheres, because they thought that the motions of the planets and stars produced melodies that, although imperceptible to the human ear, had a significant impact on life on Earth. Recent advances in astrophysics, quantum mechanics, and frequency analysis have led to a re-examination of this theory, which has been widely rejected by contemporary science for decades. What if the universe is essentially a huge orchestra of vibrations? How do we fit into this cosmic music, if at all? Understanding a basic fact that everything in the universe is vibrating is necessary before we can respond to this issue. Everything, from the biggest galaxies to the smallest subatomic particles, moves, oscillates, and resonates at particular frequencies. The things we think of as solid are actually just energy fields vibrating so quickly that they give the impression of being palpable. The cells that keep us alive, the atoms that make up our bodies, and even the ideas we have are all examples of patterns of frequency. Though it may sound poetic, new scientific research indicates that the idea that music is produced by the universe itself is actually extremely literal. NASA has converted electromagnetic waves into auditory frequencies and recorded them from planets, stars, and even black holes. Space is far from quiet, as evidenced by the deep hum of Saturn's rings, the spooky otherworldly tones of Jupiter's magnetic field, and the enigmatic pulses of far-off quasars. Instead, it is a cosmic symphony playing on an unfathomable scale, a wide, resonant field of music. What part does human consciousness play in this symphony, though, if the universe is music? Humans are not distinct from the cosmos. Rather, they are microcosms of its larger structure, according to ancient traditions. We all have our own frequencies, just like the planets. Energy centers in the human body are described by the ancient Indian system of chakras, each of which is connected to a certain vibratory tone. According to the Chinese notion of qi, balance and vigor are brought about by an energy flow that is harmonious. The link between sound, energy, and the realization of human potential has been highlighted even in Western mystical traditions, from Pythagoras' teachings to the alchemists' methods in the Middle Ages. This notion is supported by contemporary science in previously unthinkable ways. According to research in Cymatics, which is the study of how sound arranges matter, certain frequencies can produce complex geometric patterns when they are played through materials like sand or water. The pattern is more lovely when the music is more harmonized. What does this indicate about the impact of the vibrations we are surrounded by on a daily basis, if sound has this ability to form matter? Even more fascinating, bioacoustics research indicates that each organ in the human body has a unique resonant frequency. These frequencies are harmonious and in balance when one is healthy. However, these frequencies are distorted in the presence of illness. According to some experts, sound therapy can aid in cellular healing and balance restoration by employing particular tones and frequencies. But comprehending the universal symphony involves more than simply healing. If everything is frequency, then our reality is actively shaped by the ideas we have, the feelings we experience, and the noises we are exposed to. Have you ever seen how listening to particular kinds of music may instantly change your mood? How can a single song take you to a different era or emotion? This is vibrational, not only psychological. Music affects hormone production, heart rate variability, and brainwave states via interacting with the body's energy field. However, music can be harmful as well as healing. Discordant frequencies abound in the modern environment, including artificial electromagnetic waves, noise pollution, and discordant chaotic sounds that upset the human system's natural equilibrium. Many people's lives are totally out of sync because of the constant onslaught of strange vibrations that alter their frequencies. How, therefore, might we realign ourselves with the universe's larger symphony? One way is through conscious listening, choosing music, sounds, and frequencies that elevate rather than degrade. Ancient cultures understood the power of sacred sound, using mantras, chants, and specific musical scales to induce altered states of awareness. Gregorian chants, for example, have been found to synchronize brainwave activity, leading to states of deep relaxation and heightened intuition. The solfeggio frequencies, a set of tones used in early sacred music, are believed to have healing properties, with 528 Hz often called the miracle frequency due to its supposed ability to repair DNA. Another method is silence. In the modern world, true silence is rare, yet it is in silence that we begin to hear the subtle vibrations of the soul. Spiritual traditions across the world have emphasized the power of stillness, the Zen practice of Zazen, the Christian practice of contemplative prayer, the Native American vision quest, where one sits in solitude to attune to the rhythms of nature. Silence is not emptiness, it is the space in which harmony can be restored. Finally, one of the most powerful ways to align with the cosmic symphony is through intonation and vocalization. The human voice is one of the most potent vibrational tools we possess. Singing, chanting, or even humming can shift energy, clear emotional blockages, and create resonance within the body. The Om chant in Hinduism, the Tibetan throat singing, the shamanic use of repetitive vocal tones, all of these are techniques that have been used for millennia to attune the individual to higher states of awareness. Ultimately, the universe is not a random collection of particles. It is a song, a vast orchestration of frequencies in which every being plays a part. Each of us is both a listener and a musician, shaping our own vibrational field through our choices, actions, and intentions. The question is, are you in tune? Are the sounds you surround yourself with, the words you speak, the emotions you cultivate adding to the harmony of the universe or contributing to its dissonance? Because whether you realize it or not, you are always playing a note in the grand composition of existence. Chapter 13. Astral Travel and the Harmonics of Consciousness. Beyond the physical world lies a realm of infinite possibilities, a dimension unrestricted by the limits of time, space, or gravity. It is a plane where thought becomes movement, where intention becomes experience. Many have sought to explore this realm through deep meditation, dreams, and out-of-body experiences. But one of the oldest and most powerful keys to unlocking this hidden dimension is vibration. For centuries, mystical traditions around the world have spoken of astral travel, the ability to project one's consciousness beyond the body and into other planes of existence. Shamans, yogis, and spiritual seekers have long practiced techniques to achieve this state, and at the heart of many of these practices is sound. Certain frequencies, when used with intention, seem to act as gateways, lifting the consciousness beyond its earthly anchor and into the vast unseen cosmos. Could it be that astral travel is not merely an esoteric skill, but a vibrational shift, a tuning of the soul to the frequencies of the non-physical world? To answer this question, we must first understand the connection between brainwaves and altered states of consciousness. The human brain operates at different frequencies, each corresponding to a unique state of awareness. Beta waves are associated with waking consciousness, keeping the mind active, focused, and alert. Alpha waves emerge in moments of deep relaxation, creativity, and meditation, allowing for a more fluid and open mental state. When the brain enters the theta wave state, It becomes linked to deep meditation, dreaming, and access to the subconscious mind. Delta waves, the slowest and most profound, are connected to deep sleep and unconscious states, facilitating physical and mental restoration. At the highest frequency range, gamma waves are associated with heightened perception, expanded awareness, and mystical experiences, often linked to moments of profound insight and transcendence. Most people exist primarily in beta consciousness, locked into the mundane world of daily responsibilities, distractions, and linear thought. But when one shifts into theta and delta states, the barriers between physical and non-physical begin to dissolve. It is in these frequencies that out-of-body experiences, lucid dreams, and astral travel most often occur. Ancient spiritual traditions understood this well. Many cultures developed sound-based techniques to induce astral states, using rhythmic drumming, chanting, and harmonic frequencies to shift the brain into the lower vibrational ranges needed for spiritual exploration. Among the most well-documented of these methods is shamanic drumming. Indigenous shamans across the world have used repetitive drumming at precisely 4 to 7 beats per second to guide practitioners into the theta state. Once in this vibrational field, the spirit is believed to be able to leave the body and journey into other dimensions. This is not merely a cultural myth. Scientific studies have shown that rhythmic drumming entrains the brain, synchronizing it to a specific frequency that aligns with deep meditative states. But drumming is not the only tool. Many ancient cultures also used mantras and sacred syllables as vibrational gateways. In Hinduism and Tibetan Buddhism, the repetition of certain sounds, such as Om or Aum, is said to align the consciousness with higher realms. The reason is vibrational. When chanted correctly, these sounds create resonance within the body, activating the pineal gland and shifting brainwave activity. The pineal gland, often called the third eye, plays a crucial role in altered states of consciousness. This small gland, located deep within the brain, is responsible for producing melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep cycles, but it is also believed to produce DMT, dimethyltryptamine, a naturally occurring compound associated with near-death experiences, vivid dreams, and profound mystical states. Just before departing the body, many astral travelers describe feeling vibratory changes. They report an intense interior resonance that gets louder until separation happens, like a buzzing or humming sound. Astral projection, it would appear, is not about physically leaving the body, but rather changing one's frequency to align with the non-physical plane. Is there any chance that specific frequencies and sounds aid in this transition? Current study backs up this theory. It has been demonstrated that binaural beats, a type of auditory illusion in which two slightly different frequencies are played in each ear, entrain the brain into theta and delta states. Binaural beats with frequencies ranging from 4 to 7 Hertz are frequently used by astral projection practitioners to create the optimal vibrational condition for out-of-body travel. According to other research on the function of harmonics in altered states, deep vibrational tones, such those produced by throat singing, Tibetan singing bowls, and crystal bowls, appear to have substantial effects on the brain and neurological system. According to numerous accounts, these noises can cause feelings of expansion, floating, and even visions of other worlds. However, first-hand reports provide possibly the strongest proof of the function sound plays in astral transit. Those who have gone out of body, whether on purpose or by accident, often describe an overwhelming sound immediately preceding the transition, a deep hum, a high-pitched ringing, or even a chorus of voices, across cultures and across history. It makes sense that various states of consciousness would exist at various frequencies if awareness is a vibration. The human mind needs to be tuned to the right frequency in order to experience non-physical realities, just as a radio needs to be tuned to the right station in order to receive a signal. So how can astral travel be facilitated by sound? Reciting sacred syllables like Om, Aum, or other vibrationally powerful sounds can help transform consciousness into the ideal state for projection. This technique is known as mantras and chants. In order to increase the possibility of an out-of-body experience, another method uses binaural beats and isochronic tones, which entrain the brain into theta or delta wave states using specially created music. Shamanic drumming, with its steady rhythm of 4 to 7 beats per second, has been used for centuries to guide the mind into the vibrational state necessary for astral exploration. Vocal toning, achieved by humming or producing deep resonant sounds, can activate the body's energy centers and stimulate the pineal gland, further aiding the process. Sometimes, however, the most powerful tool is silence and deep listening, as the absence of external sound allows one to hear the natural frequencies of their own consciousness, creating a bridge to other dimensions. Ultimately, sound is not just a tool for astral travel, it is a language spoken across dimensions. Those who learn to harness its power may find themselves not only exploring other realms, but also understanding the true nature of reality itself. Chapter 14. The Suppression of Sacred Sounds. Who silenced the frequency keepers? Sound is one of the most powerful forces in existence. It can heal, awaken, elevate, and even open doorways to higher states of consciousness. But if sound holds the power to unlock human potential, then it also holds the power to control it. If certain frequencies can expand awareness, what happens when they are systematically suppressed? What if the very knowledge that could free humanity has been hidden, distorted, or silenced? Throughout history, those in power have always understood the influence of vibration. From the rulers of ancient civilizations to the architects of modern society, there has been a deliberate effort to control sound. What frequencies people hear, what music they listen to, even the words they speak. Because to control sound is to control perception, and to control perception is to control reality. One of the most striking examples of this suppression is the alteration of musical tuning standards. Ancient cultures used precise frequencies for healing and spiritual elevation. The Egyptian mystery schools, the Vedic traditions of India, and even the early Christian monks understood that specific vibrational tones had the ability to realign the body and mind with the cosmic order. The solfeggio frequencies, such as 528 Hz, believed to repair DNA, were commonly used in sacred music, and 432 Hz was the standard tuning frequency for instruments. But in the 20th century, everything changed. In 1939, an international conference influenced by powerful institutions, including the Nazi regime, pushed for a new standard, 440 Hz. This seemingly minor shift in tuning altered the entire spectrum of sound heard in the modern world. Research suggests that 440 Hz creates subtle disharmony within the human body, keeping the nervous system in a state of mild stress. It disconnects people from their natural alignment with the Earth's resonance and subtly distorts perception. This change was not based on scientific necessity. Rather, it was imposed without clear reasoning, and once adopted, it became the worldwide norm. Why? Because music is more than entertainment. It is a tool of influence. A population exposed to disharmonic frequencies is easier to control, more anxious, more fragmented, and less connected to their own intuition. A society that does not resonate with natural frequencies is a society that remains distracted, disconnected, and unaware of its full potential. And this is only the beginning. The suppression of sacred sound extends far beyond music. Language itself has been altered over time. In ancient cultures, words were understood as vibrational codes. The Egyptians believed that to speak a name with the correct resonance was to summon its power. The Hebrew Kabbalists taught that the universe was structured through divine letters, and the Sufis practiced chanting sacred names to elevate consciousness. But as languages evolved, many of these original vibrational structures were lost. The introduction of slang, the alteration of pronunciation, and the dilution of meaning all contributed to a weakening of the vibrational potency of speech. Words were no longer seen as sacred. They became casual, fragmented, and often filled with lower frequency emotions like anger, fear, and doubt. Consider this. When ancient cultures performed rituals, they used precise incantations, chants, and harmonic sounds to align with higher frequencies. Today, the media bombards the public with low-frequency words, repetitive slogans, and fear-based messaging. Words of division and conflict dominate the news, while positive high-vibration speech is ridiculed or dismissed as unimportant. This is not coincidence. This is deliberate programming. Beyond language, even silence itself has been disrupted. In ancient times, silence was revered. Spiritual seekers would retreat into solitude to hear the subtle vibrations of their own consciousness. Temples and sacred sites were designed to amplify silence, allowing initiates to attune to higher dimensions. But today, true silence is nearly impossible to find. The hum of electricity, the constant noise of traffic, the endless notifications of digital devices, these are not just byproducts of modern life. They are barriers to inner alignment. A mind that is never allowed to rest in silence is a mind that is easier to influence. But why? Why has this knowledge been hidden? Why have those in power sought to suppress sacred sound? Because when people reconnect with true vibration, they awaken. Throughout history, those who have understood the power of sound have been persecuted. The burning of the Library of Alexandria erased vast amounts of knowledge, including treatises on music and resonance. The suppression of indigenous drumming traditions by colonial powers was not just an attack on culture, it was an attack on vibrational sovereignty. The removal of sacred chants from Christian worship, the criminalization of shamanic sound rituals, the censorship of esoteric teachings, these were all systematic efforts to disconnect humanity from its original sound codes. And yet, the truth has never fully vanished. The monks in remote Tibetan monasteries still chant in frequencies that elevate consciousness. The shamans of the Amazon still sing Icaros, vibrational songs that guide the soul into other dimensions. The remnants of lost frequencies still exist in ancient music, hidden in forgotten manuscripts, waiting for those who seek to reclaim them. So what can be done? The first step is awareness, understanding that not all sound is neutral, that some frequencies uplift while others suppress. The second step is conscious listening, choosing music, words, and silence that align with higher vibrations. And finally, the third step is reclaiming sound as a personal tool for awakening. You can begin by integrating sacred sounds into your life. Chanting mantras, meditating with solfeggio frequencies, or simply spending time in nature, where the original frequencies of the earth can be felt, can begin to reverse the vibrational damage caused by modern society. Most importantly, you must speak with awareness. Every word carries a vibration. Every sentence you utter sends a resonance into the world. Are you speaking words that uplift, that empower, that align with higher truth? Or are you unknowingly reinforcing lower frequencies through fear, doubt, and negativity? The time of forgetting is ending. The lost frequencies are returning. But it is up to you to tune in. Because in the end, sound is not just something we hear, it is something we are. Chapter 15. The Ritual of Sound, Chanting, Drumming, and Sonic Alchemy. For as long as humans have walked the earth, they have used sound as a tool to transcend the ordinary, to communicate with the unseen, and to align themselves with the deeper forces of the cosmos. Before the written word, before structured language, there was vibration, and from vibration emerged the sacred rituals of sound, practices that were never intended as mere music or entertainment, but as a way to access and alter reality itself. The power of sound has been woven into every spiritual tradition, passed down through generations of mystics, shamans, and seekers who understood that rhythm, tone, and resonance were far more than auditory experiences. Chanting was not simply singing, but a way to shift consciousness. Drumming was not just rhythm, but a method for altering the mind's frequency. Sonic alchemy was not metaphorical, but an actual practice of transformation, a process of tuning the human spirit to the harmonics of the universe. The human voice is perhaps the oldest and most potent instrument of all. It is the only instrument directly connected to breath, the life force itself, and every sound produced by the vocal cords carries a vibration that interacts with the body and mind. In the ancient traditions of Hinduism and Buddhism, mantras were seen as powerful vibrational formulas capable of unlocking different states of awareness. The syllable Om, regarded as the primordial sound of the universe, was believed to carry the resonance of creation itself. When chanted properly, it would not only quiet the mind, but also generate a physical vibration in the chest, throat, and skull, activating the pineal gland and shifting brainwave activity into deeper meditative states. The same understanding is found in Tibetan Buddhism, where monks engage in harmonic chanting, producing multiple overtones at once. This creates a vibrational effect that many describe as otherworldly, a resonance that seems to extend beyond the physical realm. These chants are not random. They follow precise mathematical and tonal structures designed to align the body and mind with higher frequencies. Similar principles guided the creation of Gregorian chants in medieval Europe, where choirs would sing in specific harmonic intervals, designed to induce states of contemplation and divine connection. Rhythm, just as much as tone, plays a crucial role in shaping consciousness. Drumming has been used for thousands of years as a gateway to altered states. Indigenous cultures across the world, from the shamans of Siberia to the medicine people of the Amazon, have relied on rhythmic drumming to enter trance states and journey beyond the confines of physical reality. There is a reason why shamanic drumming is performed at a steady rate of 4 to 7 beats per second. This rhythm entrains the brain, pulling it into the theta wave state, the same state associated with deep meditation, dreams, and heightened intuition. Modern science confirms what these traditions have always known. Research into brainwave synchronization shows that external rhythmic stimuli can guide the brain into different states of awareness. A steady drumbeat, maintained over a period of time, shifts the nervous system into a state of coherence, reducing stress and allowing the subconscious mind to open. This explains why so many ancient cultures saw drumming as a sacred act, a method not just of communication or celebration, but of healing and transcendence. Beyond chanting and drumming lies the deeper practice of sonic alchemy, the intentional use of sound to alter energy fields, heal the body, and expand the mind. Throughout history, sacred instruments such as Tibetan singing bowls, tuning forks, and crystal bowls have been used to generate specific frequencies that interact with the body's energy centers. When struck or played, these instruments produce vibrations that resonate through the body, realigning imbalances and restoring harmony. Many sound healers believe that different frequencies correspond to different states of being, with some capable of facilitating deep emotional release, others enhancing mental clarity, and still others stimulating physical healing. Concrete proof of the power of sound can be found in the study of cymatics, the science of how sound interacts with matter. Each sound frequency forms a unique shape when it is played through a material like sand or water, resulting in complex geometric patterns. This implies that sound is a force that literally constructs reality rather than just being an auditory experience. What impact might particular frequencies have on the body, which is mostly made of water, if they are able to arrange matter into exquisite, symmetrical shapes? The area of vibrational medicine, which aims to use sound as a tool for transformation and healing, is centered on this subject. Significant repercussions have resulted from the modern world's loss of sound as a religious practice. In the ancient world, spiritual practice was inextricably linked to sound and song. In order to enhance consciousness, temples were constructed with acoustics in mind, aiming to magnify specific resonances. Whether it was through drumming, chanting, or the use of certain instruments, vibrational healing was practiced in every culture. However, these customs were eventually lost or consigned to the realm of superstition as cultures grew increasingly preoccupied with material advancement and outward accomplishments. Yet, for those who seek it, the path of sound remains open. The resurgence of interest in sound healing, meditation music, and frequency-based therapies is not an accident. It is a sign that humanity is beginning to remember what was once known. That sound is a gateway, a bridge between the seen and the unseen, the physical and the spiritual. Those who engage in sound rituals today are not simply reviving old traditions, they are reclaiming a lost science, a forgotten art of tuning the soul to its natural resonance. The power of sound is not locked away in ancient texts or reserved for mystics in hidden temples. It is accessible to anyone who chooses to listen, to experiment, to engage with sound, not just as entertainment, but as a tool for self-discovery. The simple act of humming can activate deep relaxation. The conscious use of one's voice can shift emotions, dispel negativity, and create clarity. The mindful listening to pure tones, natural sounds, or harmonic frequencies can bring the body and mind back into balance. In a world filled with discord, noise, and artificial distractions, the return to sacred sound is an act of defiance and liberation. It is a reclaiming of something essential, something that has always been within reach but often overlooked. Sound is not just something that happens around us, it is something we are made of. Every cell in the body vibrates. Every heartbeat carries a rhythm. Every breath is a note in the great symphony of existence. The question is not whether sound has the power to transform reality. The question is whether one is willing to listen, to participate, to remember the ancient truth that has always been known, that sound is creation, and through it, one can awaken to the deepest mysteries of existence. Chapter 16, Breaking the Frequency Code, How to Reclaim Your True Vibration. There is a hidden force shaping your reality, influencing your emotions, thoughts, and even the opportunities that come your way. Though unseen, it affects every aspect of your existence. This force is frequency, the vibrational energy you emit and absorb. What if the frequency you are currently tuned into is not your natural state? What if, since birth, your personal resonance has been subtly altered, keeping you disconnected from your highest potential? From the moment we enter the world, we are immersed in a sea of artificial frequencies. The hum of electrical wiring, the chaotic sounds of traffic, the low-frequency pulses of industrial machines, these are not part of the natural order. Unlike the organic sounds of wind, water, and birdsong, which nourish the nervous system and promote balance, these artificial vibrations keep the mind overstimulated and fragmented. Many people live their entire lives without realizing they are existing in a field of energetic distortion. Even more insidious is the manipulation of sound and vibration through media and technology. Television and digital devices emit electromagnetic frequencies that subtly affect brainwave activity, keeping the mind locked in a highly alert but easily distracted state. The constant bombardment of information, much of it designed to provoke fear, anger, or anxiety, ensures that most people remain vibrating at lower frequencies. In such a state, individuals are more reactive, more fearful, and less connected to their own intuition. Music, once a sacred tool for healing and spiritual elevation, has also been altered in ways few understand. Ancient civilizations tuned their instruments to 432 Hz, a frequency believed to align with the natural rhythms of the earth. But in the 20th century, a global standard of 440 Hz was imposed. While the difference appears minor, research suggests that 440 Hz creates subtle disharmony within the human body, keeping the nervous system in a state of mild tension. This shift was not based on scientific necessity, but was enforced despite resistance from musicians and sound researchers. Language, too, has been stripped of its vibrational potency. In the ancient world, words were considered sacred. The Egyptians believed that to speak a name with the correct resonance was to summon its power. The Hebrew Kabbalists taught that the universe was structured through divine letters, and the Sufis practiced chanting sacred names to elevate consciousness. But over time, language became diluted. Today, most speech is hurried, fragmented, and filled with lower-frequency emotions like fear, doubt, and resentment. Every word carries a vibration, and when negative language dominates, it reinforces lower vibrational states, shaping perception in ways people do not realize. To break free from this frequency programming, one must first become aware of the vibrational environment they exist within. The sounds, words, and energies one engages with daily determine their personal resonance. By consciously choosing higher frequencies, one can begin to reclaim their natural vibrational state and shift their reality in profound ways. Detoxing from discordant noise is one of the first stages in cracking the frequency coding. The nervous system can recalibrate when exposure to discordant music, artificial frequencies, and chaotic soundscapes is reduced. Restoring internal equilibrium can be achieved by immersing oneself in natural sounds, such as wind, rain, or ocean waves. Spending time in nature, restores the link between the human body and the Earth's frequencies, which are meant to be in harmony. Another effective technique for vibrational realignment is to include healing frequencies back into everyday life. The body's natural resonance can be restored with the use of solfeggio frequencies, such as 528 Hz, which is thought to aid in DNA repair, and 432 Hz, which is linked to harmony and balance. Frequencies released by Tibetan singing bowls, tuning forks, and crystal bowls realign the body's energy system, enhancing both mental and physical health. One of the most powerful vibrational tools is the voice itself. The body enters a higher state of resonance when sacred syllables like Om, Ramadasa, or HU are chanted because they produce frequencies. The vagus nerve, which controls stress and emotional equilibrium, has been demonstrated to be activated by even light humming. Vocal toning practitioners frequently describe feeling extremely clear and at ease with themselves, as though they are readjusting their whole energetic field. But reclaiming frequency is not just about external sound. It is also about the internal dialogue one maintains. Words and thoughts carry vibrational signatures. When people engage in negative self-talk, they reinforce a frequency of fear and limitation. Shifting one's inner narrative, replacing doubt with empowerment, resentment with gratitude, and fear with love, can radically transform one's vibrational state. Language is not merely communication, it is a vibrational command to the universe. Emotions, too, emit frequencies that shape reality. Love, joy, and gratitude resonate at higher frequencies, aligning the individual with the natural harmony of existence. Fear, anger, and despair operate at lower frequencies, creating dissonance within the body and mind. The choice to cultivate higher frequency emotions is not just a psychological exercise, it is an act of vibrational sovereignty. When one aligns with love, gratitude, and inner peace, their entire reality begins to shift, attracting experiences and people that match their elevated state. Silence is another powerful tool in reclaiming one's true vibration. In a world filled with relentless noise, silence is an entry point into deeper awareness. True silence allows the nervous system to reset and the mind to quiet, creating space for the subtle vibrations of the soul to emerge. Many spiritual traditions emphasize the power of silence, recognizing that within stillness, profound transformation occurs. Even brief moments of meditative silence each day can create profound shifts in consciousness, allowing one to hear the true resonance of their own being. As more people reclaim their vibrational sovereignty, the collective frequency of humanity will shift. A society that has been conditioned to operate in states of fear, distraction, and division will begin to evolve toward unity, cooperation, and higher awareness. This is why frequency has always been controlled, because those who understand it hold power over perception and reality. But as individuals awaken to their own vibrational potential, external manipulation loses its grip. The greatest revolution is not external, it is internal. It is the reclaiming of one's own frequency, the conscious decision to align with higher vibrations despite the noise of the world. This is not an abstract spiritual concept. It is a fundamental principle of existence. Everything vibrates, everything resonates, and everything is affected by the frequencies we choose to engage with. In the end, breaking the frequency code is about taking back control of one's own vibration. It is about choosing harmony over chaos, awareness over unconsciousness, and resonance over distortion. The question is no longer whether this knowledge exists. The question is whether one will use it. Because whether we realize it or not, we are always transmitting a frequency. The choice is ours. Will we continue to vibrate at the frequencies imposed upon us, or will we reclaim our true sound? Chapter 17. The Cosmic Harmonics, How the Universe Speaks Through Sound. The universe is not silent. It hums, it vibrates, it sings in frequencies beyond human hearing, and yet its symphony shapes everything we see, feel, and experience. The ancient philosophers, mystics, and scientists who spoke of the music of the spheres were not merely poetic dreamers. They were perceiving a truth that modern science is only now beginning to rediscover. The cosmos is built on vibration, and every celestial body, Every particle and every thought resonates within a grand harmonic structure that interconnects all things. For centuries, this understanding was woven into spiritual traditions, guiding humanity's search for meaning. The Vedic scriptures of India describe the universe as emerging from a primordial sound, the sacred vibration known as Om, a frequency that still echoes through existence. In ancient Greece, Pythagoras taught that the planets move in mathematical precision, generating harmonies that, though imperceptible to human ears, influence life on Earth. The Egyptian temples, with their resonant chambers, were designed to amplify specific tones, aligning those who entered with divine frequencies. Even the Christian and Islamic traditions hold that the word, the spoken vibration, was the force through which creation unfolded. Science, though reluctant to embrace the mystical, has arrived at similar conclusions through different means. Quantum mechanics has revealed that at the smallest levels, reality is not composed of static particles, but of vibrating energy fields. Every atom oscillates, every molecule dances in rhythm with unseen forces. Physicists have observed that subatomic particles do not exist in fixed states until they are observed, as if reality itself is a song waiting to be heard before it fully takes form. This is the vibrational nature of existence, the silent music that underlies all things. Even the great celestial bodies emit sound. NASA has recorded electromagnetic vibrations from planets and stars, translating them into frequencies audible to human ears. Saturn sings with deep, ghostly tones. The Sun emits pulsations that sound like the beating of an ancient drum. Black holes generate waves so low that they resonate across millions of light-years, like the bass notes of the cosmic orchestra. These sounds, though never meant for human hearing, suggest that the universe is constantly expressing itself through vibration, communicating in a language older than time itself. But what does this mean for human consciousness? If everything in the universe vibrates, then human beings, as part of this cosmic field, must also be governed by these harmonics. The human body is a resonant instrument, with every cell, organ, and energy center vibrating at specific frequencies. The ancient concept of chakras, long dismissed by materialist science, aligns remarkably with modern discoveries in bioacoustics. Each chakra corresponds to different frequencies, and when these frequencies are in balance, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being is enhanced. When they fall out of tune, disharmony manifests as disease, stress, and psychological turmoil. Music has long been a bridge between human consciousness and the greater universe. Those who have felt the transcendent power of certain sounds, the deep emotional pull of a song, or the way a melody can transport the mind beyond space and time, have glimpsed the deeper truth. That sound is not just an art form, but a key to unlocking hidden dimensions of existence. Certain frequencies, like the ancient solfeggio tones, appear to induce healing effects, while others, like the chaotic, dissonant sounds that dominate modern music, seem to disrupt natural harmony. Could it be that much of today's soundscape is designed to keep humanity out of sync with the cosmic order, preventing deeper awareness and intuitive connection? Many spiritual practitioners believe that tuning into the natural harmonics of the universe can enhance intuition and even facilitate communication with higher realms. The experiences of mystics, shamans, and near-death experiencers often share a common thread: the presence of celestial music, harmonic tones, or an overwhelming vibrational shift that accompanies moments of spiritual awakening. Sound appears to be a gateway, a medium through which consciousness expands beyond the limitations of the physical world. Dreams, meditation, and deep states of contemplation often bring forth sounds that seem to emerge from nowhere. Some describe hearing a high-pitched ringing, a deep humming, or an ethereal choir. In many esoteric traditions, these sounds are believed to be the resonance of the soul attuning itself to higher frequencies. Some scientists speculate that these auditory phenomena could be the result of the brain tuning into electromagnetic fields, or even picking up on the vibrations of distant cosmic events. But beyond speculation, there is a lived reality to this truth. Those who immerse themselves in harmonious frequencies, whether through chanting, music, or the sounds of nature, often report profound shifts in perception. Their intuition becomes sharper, their dreams more vivid, their sense of connection to the universe more pronounced. It is as if aligning with the correct frequency allows one to tap into a field of information that is otherwise obscured by the noise of everyday life. Yet modern society does little to encourage this awareness. The artificial sounds that dominate urban life, the constant hum of electricity, the beeping of machines, the dissonant frequencies of mass media, create a vibrational interference that keeps people disconnected from the natural harmonics of the universe. The rise of digital music, often compressed and stripped of its full harmonic spectrum, further separates listeners from the true depth of sound. If the universe speaks through vibration, then much of modern existence has been designed to drown out its voice. But the silence has not won. The cosmic harmonics are still there, waiting for those who will listen. They exist in the rustling of leaves, the rhythm of ocean waves, the deep resonance of a Tibetan singing bowl, the timeless melodies of sacred chants. They exist in the spaces between thoughts, in the deep stillness where the mind meets the infinite. To hear the universe, one must first quiet the noise within. By tuning into the natural frequencies of existence, by surrounding oneself with sound that elevates rather than distorts, by embracing silence as much as music, a new awareness begins to emerge. It is an awareness that reminds us that we are not separate from the cosmos. We are part of its great symphony, resonating within its endless song. The question is not whether the universe is speaking, but whether we are listening. Chapter 18. The Keepers of the Vibrational Secrets. Who still holds the knowledge? The power of vibration has always been understood by some people. There were mystics, shamans, initiates, and secret societies who protected this precious information long before contemporary science started to reveal the hidden nature of frequency. In addition to being spiritual seekers, these people held a deep knowledge that energy, resonance, and sound are the fundamental components of existence. Although a large portion of this knowledge was repressed, deleted, or disregarded by the majority of people, it never really vanished. It continued to be concealed in Tibet's monasteries, in the esoteric traditions that have been whispered quietly through the decades, in the alchemists' encrypted books, and in the holy chants of native tribes. In order to ensure that only those who were prepared could decipher this information, the ancient mystery schools of Egypt, Greece, and Mesopotamia kept it in symbolic language. The Egyptian priesthood recognized the power of sound to change matter itself and consciousness. Initiates were placed in states of heightened consciousness thanks to temples' acoustic qualities, which enhanced specific frequencies. People like Pythagoras, who taught that the universe was regulated by mathematical and musical harmonies, left the Greeks with a lot of this knowledge. According to him, the right use of sound might elevate the soul, cure the body, and connect the human spirit to the larger cosmic order. In the East, Tibetan monks developed a deep understanding of how vocal resonance affects the energy centers of the body. Their throat singing, harmonic chanting, and use of sacred bells and bowls were not merely rituals, but precise vibrational techniques designed to align the soul with higher states of consciousness. The mantras of Hinduism and Buddhism follow the same principles, with each syllable vibrating at a frequency that corresponds to different aspects of the human energy system. These practices were never intended as mere religious observances, but as functional technologies of sound, a way to access deeper dimensions of existence. Indigenous shamans across the world also retained this knowledge. From the rhythmic drumming of Siberian and Amazonian tribes to the ceremonial songs of the Native Americans, sound has always been central to their spiritual practices. Drumming, in particular, has been used for thousands of years to alter brainwave states, induce trance, and facilitate journeys into other realms. In these traditions, sound is a bridge between the physical and the non-physical, a means of communicating with ancestors, spirits, and the forces of nature. Shamans use vocal tones and repetitive rhythms not just for storytelling, but to heal, guide souls, and access hidden knowledge. Beyond religious and shamanic traditions, secret societies and esoteric orders have long understood the power of sound and vibration. The Kabbalists of the Jewish mystical tradition studied the vibrational significance of letters and words, believing that the universe itself was structured through divine sound. The Sufis of Islam engaged in whirling dances and chanting to reach states of ecstatic union with the divine, using rhythm and motion to transcend the limitations of the mind. The alchemists of the Middle Ages encoded vibrational secrets into their writings, often disguising them within complex metaphors to protect them from persecution. They understood that transformation, whether of metals or the human soul, was a process of shifting frequency. Some people have been delving into these riddles even in more recent times. One of the greatest modern-day scientists, Nikola Tesla, is credited with saying that to comprehend the cosmos, one must conceive in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Tesla thought it was possible to use resonance and sound in ways that would completely transform human life. His studies of electromagnetic fields and resonance frequencies suggested a future in which energy might be freely obtained, music could be used to heal, and vibrational techniques could be used to increase human awareness. However, the authorities that aimed to keep control of knowledge and energy mostly ignored his work, buried his patents, and disregarded his discoveries. Even today, there are those who still guard the deeper truths of vibration. Some of this knowledge remains hidden in monastic orders, in isolated spiritual communities, and within families that have passed down sacred traditions for generations. Certain musicians, sound healers, and researchers are rediscovering lost frequencies, bringing them back into the public sphere through music therapy, sound healing, and experimental science. The resurgence of interest in solfeggio frequencies, binaural beats, and cymatics, the study of how sound shapes matter, is a sign that humanity is beginning to awaken once more to the power of vibration. But despite this revival, much of the world remains unaware of the deeper implications of sound. The modern world has been tuned to a different frequency, one of dissonance, distraction, and disharmony. The vast majority of music, speech, and soundscapes that people engage with daily do not elevate consciousness. They dull it. The constant background noise of modern life, the chaotic frequencies of mass media, and the artificial rhythms of contemporary music have, in many ways, severed humanity from its original resonance. The knowledge that was once sacred has been turned into entertainment, stripped of its transformative power and reduced to mere distraction. Yet for those who seek it, the knowledge is still there. It can be found in the echoes of ancient chants, in the mathematical precision of harmonic structures, in the subtle vibrations of the body and mind. It is present in the sound of the wind moving through trees, in the waves crashing upon the shore, in the stillness where true resonance can be felt. It is in the voice, in the breath, in the awareness that vibration is not something external, but something intrinsic to our very being. The keepers of this knowledge are no longer just monks in temples or scholars in hidden libraries. They are the seekers, the curious, the ones who feel that something is missing from the modern world's understanding of reality. Anyone who begins to listen, to truly listen, can become a guardian of vibration. Those who experiment with sound, who meditate with frequency, who sing with intention, who align their words with truth, are carrying forward an ancient lineage. Reclaiming the lost knowledge of vibration is not just an intellectual pursuit. It is a personal transformation. It is a return to an awareness that has always existed, waiting beneath the surface of conditioned reality. Those who tune themselves to higher frequencies begin to see the world differently. Synchronicities increase, the mind sharpens, the body responds to new rhythms, releasing old patterns of discord. The soul remembers what it has always known, that it too is part of the great cosmic resonance, a note within the infinite symphony of existence. The secrets of vibration were never truly lost. They have been waiting, preserved in the sacred spaces of the world and within the silence of the soul. The question is no longer whether these truths exist, but whether one is ready to hear them. Chapter 19. The Future of Frequency, the Awakening of a New Era. Sound has always been a bridge between worlds, a force capable of shaping reality itself. For thousands of years, humanity's relationship with vibration was intimate, deliberate, and sacred. It guided spiritual practices, influenced architecture, and played a central role in healing and transformation. But over time, as civilizations rose and fell, much of this knowledge was obscured, forgotten, or deliberately suppressed. Today, as science begins to catch up with ancient wisdom, a shift is occurring. The lost understanding of sound and frequency is re-emerging, and with it, the potential to reshape human consciousness and reality in ways previously thought impossible. The world is at a crossroads. On one side, there is the relentless march of technology, the increasing saturation of artificial frequencies, and the deepening disconnect between people and the natural world. The modern era is filled with noise, digital chatter, electromagnetic fields, the chaotic hum of machinery. People are bombarded with frequencies that do not nourish the spirit, but instead fragment attention, induce stress and create a sense of dissonance that most cannot even identify. Many live their lives feeling perpetually distracted, fatigued, or anxious, unaware that the very vibrations they exist within are influencing their state of being. But on the other side, something profound is happening. A growing number of people are beginning to awaken to the hidden power of sound. The resurgence of interest in healing frequencies, binaural beats, sound baths, and vibrational therapy is not a passing trend. It is a sign that humanity is beginning to remember something fundamental. Across the world, musicians, scientists, and spiritual seekers are exploring the intersection of sound and consciousness, uncovering the ways in which frequency can elevate awareness, restore balance, and even alter the structure of reality itself. One of the most promising fields emerging from this exploration is Cymatics, the study of how sound organizes matter. Through visual representations of vibration, Cymatics has demonstrated what ancient cultures understood intuitively. That frequency is not just an abstract force, but a tangible, creative power. When sound is played through a medium such as water or sand, it produces intricate geometric patterns, each one unique to the frequency being emitted. These formations are not random, they follow precise mathematical laws, reflecting the same harmonic structures found in nature, from the spirals of galaxies to the growth patterns of plants. If sound has the power to shape physical reality at a microscopic level, then it stands to reason that it also shapes the larger systems of life. What happens when human consciousness is exposed to dissonant frequencies for extended periods? What effect do harmonious vibrations have on the body, mind, and spirit? These are the questions that researchers, healers, and pioneers in the field of vibrational science are beginning to explore with renewed urgency. One of the most groundbreaking ideas of our day is frequency-based healing. Although sound has long been employed for therapeutic purposes in ancient cultures, its promise is now being confirmed by modern science. According to studies, some frequencies can even repair DNA, lessen stress, and encourage cellular regeneration. Using instruments like harmonic resonance chambers, singing bowls, and tuning forks, sound therapy is becoming more and more accepted in both clinical and holistic contexts. Medical researchers and hospitals are starting to look at using sound to treat neurodegenerative illnesses, anxiety disorders, and chronic pain. The ramifications are profound. If sound has the ability to repair cells, it calls into question many of the presumptions made by the contemporary medical establishment regarding the nature of illness and recovery. Beyond physical healing, sound is also being used as a tool for expanding consciousness. Many who engage in deep vibrational practices report heightened intuition, lucid dreaming, and experiences that transcend ordinary perception. This is no coincidence. The human brain is a resonant system, and when exposed to certain frequencies, it can shift into altered states of awareness. Binaural beats, isochronic tones, and rhythmic drumming have been shown to synchronize brainwaves, leading to profound meditative and visionary states. These experiences suggest that sound is not merely something we hear, it is something that can transport consciousness itself. As the knowledge of vibrational science continues to unfold, the future of sound-based technology is beginning to take shape. Some researchers believe that frequency-based medicine could one day replace pharmaceuticals, offering non-invasive treatments that work by restoring the body's natural resonance. Others envision cities designed with acoustic harmony in mind, where every structure is built to enhance well-being rather than diminish it. The integration of sound technology into daily life, whether through personalized vibrational therapy, immersive sonic environments, or even frequency-based education systems, could revolutionize the way humans interact with the world. But perhaps the most profound aspect of this awakening is the realization that frequency is not just an external force. It is something that each person generates. Every thought, every emotion, every word spoken carries a vibrational imprint. The idea that consciousness itself is a form of frequency is not new, but it is gaining new significance as more people begin to explore how their personal energy influences the world around them. If everything is vibration, then aligning with the right frequencies is not just about listening to healing music or using tuning forks. It is about mastering one's own resonance. This shift in awareness brings responsibility. It means recognizing that the energy one carries into a room affects others. It means understanding that emotional states, whether positive or negative, create ripples in the vibrational field of existence. It means choosing to cultivate frequencies that uplift rather than diminish, that harmonize rather than distort. This is not a passive process. It requires conscious engagement, a willingness to tune oneself to the rhythms of higher awareness rather than the discord of modern distraction. As the world stands on the threshold of a new understanding of frequency, the question is no longer whether vibration influences reality, but how humanity will choose to use this knowledge. Will it be applied in ways that heal and elevate, that reconnect people to their true essence? Or will it continue to be exploited, used as a tool for control, distraction, and dissonance? The answer lies in the choices that individuals make each day, in the awareness they bring to their own energy, in the frequencies they choose to amplify. The future of frequency is not just about technology or healing, it is about conscious evolution. It is about remembering what was once known, reclaiming the power of sound, and using it as a force for transformation. The universe is vibrating, singing its endless song, and for those who are willing to listen, the next era of human existence will be defined not by chaos, but by harmony. Chapter 20. Returning to the original frequency. Everything in existence vibrates, from the smallest subatomic particle to the vast spirals of galaxies. The entire universe is an ocean of frequencies, an intricate web of resonance where everything is connected through the invisible threads of vibration. For thousands of years, this knowledge was understood and revered by ancient civilizations, embedded into their architecture, their music, their rituals, and their spiritual practices. Sound was never seen as mere noise. It was a force capable of shaping reality, altering consciousness, and connecting human beings to the divine. Somewhere along the way, this knowledge was lost, fragmented by the rise and fall of empires, suppressed by institutions that sought to control perception, and ultimately drowned out by the relentless noise of the modern world. The ancient frequencies that once resonated in temples, pyramids, and sacred landscapes faded into obscurity, replaced by artificial vibrations that disconnected people from the natural harmony of existence. The modern era brought progress, but it also brought chaos, a dissonance that seeps into every aspect of life, keeping minds restless, bodies unbalanced, and souls longing for something just beyond reach. Despite this, the original frequency has never been truly lost. It is not something that can be destroyed, because it is the fundamental essence of existence itself. It still pulses beneath the layers of distraction, waiting to be rediscovered. It reveals itself in moments of deep silence, in the rhythm of waves crashing on the shore, in the harmonic interplay of birdsong at dawn, in the stillness of a forest untouched by human hands. It is present in the beating of the human heart, in the rise and fall of breath, in the unspoken knowing that arises when one is fully attuned to the present moment. Reconnecting with this lost resonance is not a matter of seeking something external. It is a process of returning to what was always there, of stripping away the interference that has masked the true vibrational nature of reality. It begins with awareness, the recognition that every sound, every word, every thought carries a frequency that influences the energetic field of both the individual and the collective. The world has been inundated with dissonance, yet every person has the ability to choose what they tune into. This journey back to the original frequency requires a shift in perception. It is about realizing that sound is not just something heard with the ears, but something felt with the entire being. The body itself is an instrument, vibrating in response to every emotion, every experience, every interaction with the world. When in harmony, everything flows effortlessly, health is restored, and life unfolds with a sense of alignment. When out of tune, there is confusion, disconnection, and a sense of being lost. The ancients understood that aligning with the right frequencies could bring profound transformation. They knew that sacred chants, harmonic structures, and the careful use of sound could open doorways to higher states of awareness. They saw the human voice as a tool of creation, a bridge between the physical and the unseen, a force capable of manifesting reality itself. Even today, those who practice conscious vocalization, chanting, and vibrational meditation find that sound has the power to dissolve mental barriers, heal emotional wounds, and awaken something long dormant within the soul. But beyond these external practices, there is a deeper truth. The greatest sound is the one that arises from within. It is the silent resonance of being fully present, the vibration of authentic expression, the unshakable frequency of one who is aligned with their true essence. In a world that has sought to control and manipulate frequency, reclaiming one's own vibration is the ultimate act of sovereignty. It is the recognition that no external force can dictate the resonance of the soul unless permission is given. As humanity stands on the edge of a new vibrational awakening, the question is no longer whether sound influences reality, but whether individuals will take responsibility for the frequencies they emit and absorb. Every interaction, every word spoken, every thought held is part of a greater symphony, shaping not only personal experience, but the collective energetic field of the planet. If enough people choose harmony over chaos, awareness over unconsciousness, and love over fear, the entire vibrational structure of reality will begin to shift. The future is not written in stone. It is composed in resonance. It is being formed in every moment by the frequencies that humanity chooses to amplify. The rediscovery of sacred sound, the return to harmonic existence, and the conscious alignment with the original frequency are not just possibilities. They are necessities for the next stage of human evolution. In the end, everything returns to vibration. The question is not whether one is part of the cosmic symphony, but whether one is playing their note in harmony with it. The choice is always present. To remain in discord, trapped in artificial frequencies that disconnect and disempower, or to tune into the natural rhythms of existence and reclaim the power that has always been within. The original frequency has never been lost. It is waiting in the silence, in the breath, in the deep knowing that exists beyond words. The universe is listening, always responding to the vibrations being sent out. The final question is simple, yet profound. What frequency will you choose?